So think about the classic rom-com or drama arc. Girl meets stable, kind guy. Girl meets exciting, brooding bad boy. Guess who she picks? Guess who the audience is rooting for? Chris Williamson absolutely nails this in his video about how pop culture teaches women to choose emotionally unavailable men. Movies reward the woman who wins the aloof, damaged hero. Stability is portrayed as sterile. Suffering is sexy. The Byronic hero, emotionally isolated, morally ambiguous, and a tragic past, he's the ideal. So let's see what Chris has to say about some of this, and then I'll add my thoughts.
In The Notebook, Ali chooses Noah, the poor, impulsive, deeply emotional man, over Lon, her secure and respectable fiancé. What's the conclusion? Stability is boring, and true love is obsessive, chaotic, and all-consuming. In Titanic, the scene that makes you like Jack more than Rose's wealthy fiancé Cal is that, for fun, Cal just sits and has quiet conversations with his friends, whereas Jack has fun with big, loud parties. And the movie portrays this as him living more authentically or living life to its fullest. But really, he's just living like a teenager. He has nothing to offer Rose in terms of reliability or safety, yet this brief, fiery connection is portrayed as more authentic than anything she could have had with a professional fiancé. In Twilight, Edward Cullen is dangerous and obsessive and emotionally tortured, and that is precisely what makes him desirable. Bella's rejection of Jacob, who's warm and grounded, underscores the trope, right? Safe is boring, danger is hot.
He's not wrong. He's really not wrong. I agreed with almost everything that he said there. Once upon a time, though, I believed these things when I was a young, naive teenager. I am proud, though, to say that I've never seen The Notebook. When I tell that to most women, they usually gasp, like, how could you possibly have never seen The Notebook? That's a sin. Well, it's true. I've never seen it, and now after listening to Chris' assessment, I probably never will. I'll wear it as a badge of honor, much like how I'll wear a badge of honor that I've never had a single tattoo. It's just something that I've never shown interest in. I have no interest in getting one, and I probably never will, but I digress. What Chris says here about The Notebook is absolutely true. And it's kind of insane if you're just hearing the facts regarding who Allie chose, when she had between Noah and Lon, and you list all the facts, and then you realize, really, she picked Noah? So it's easy for me to say that because I'm not emotionally invested in this film or this relationship, so that's very easy to be pragmatic here. Titanic, however, is a completely different story. I've loved this film for almost 30 years, and I still bawl my eyes out every time I watch it. In fact, my son also loves Titanic, so we have to watch it every year on April 15th, which is the anniversary of the sinking. We have to watch Titanic, and every single year I bawl my eyes out. Just can't help it. But I cannot deny what Chris is saying about Jack does make a lot of sense. If I were to try to, look at Jack with a completely objective point of view, watching how at home Jack felt at that wild party below the decks of Titanic, it started to make me think, like, well, maybe that was something about him that it could have been problematic for Rose had he actually survived the sinking. I mean, life isn't always just a big fun party. You eventually got to do the hard work. You got to get disciplined, and you got to get to work. So back in the day, a lot of us would fantasize about the beautiful life that Jack and Rose could have built together had Jack survived the sinking. And in the end, the film proves that Rose was able to build a beautiful life for herself without the help of any man. And again, it's a little dose of feminist propaganda sprinkled in this film. But again, for all we know, Jack could have ruined Rose. I mean, imagine that they're living in some shack somewhere in New York City. And while Rose is trying to make an honest living, doing what she can to make money, Jack is out partying all night and spending all of their money. His one job was to try to sell his drawings, which they're very good, but, he still has all of them. It's not like he really made an effort to try to make money off of them. Anything to feed this woman that he supposedly loves. So it's just something that we, the audience, we didn't really think about because we were so emotionally invested in this relationship. But when you take the emotion out of it, when you extricate the emotion and you just have the facts, the facts don't line up. And it is true. Jack was really not the ideal choice for Rose, given the time period, given just the reality of life back then. Thinking about it, it was really a big, stupid gamble that she took. It worked out for her in the end, but we can't say that for most people. And it just goes to show how many women ultimately do choose their partners based on pure emotion. And that is not good at all. So on a side note, though, I do want to say that, Cal was a real jerk and he really did only care about his money. So he's an easy villain to hate. So I stand by that assessment. But here's the crux of my issue with these stories, where the heart of my concern is about the message that we're sending to young girls who watch these films. These stories don't just romanticize bad behavior. Many of them actually mirror patterns of narcissistic abuse. These films often reward emotionally unavailable, self-centered men who keep women hooked through something called intermittent reinforcement. Remember this word because it could save you later. Intermittent reinforcement is one of the most powerful and primary tactics that narcissists use to lure in their victims and keep their victims. So here is how intermittent reinforcement works. You meet a guy and there's an immediate connection, followed by intense highs. Think love bombing, wonderful words about how beautiful you are, how you're his soulmate, how he just can't live without you, etc. Grand gestures, expensive gifts, passionate sex, vulnerability dumps, the you can save me kind of talk, followed by sudden withdrawals, ghosting, criticism, or chaos. The brain gets flooded with dopamine during these highs, and it crashes during the lows. That unpredictability is addictive. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines and things like heroin so dangerous. Women and viewers become wired to crave the next hit, to fight harder for the relationship, to prove that they're enough to win the prize version of him. And for me, I saw this clearly in the Twilight films, specifically the second one, New Moon, where Edward just up and leaves Bella. She proceeds to reach out to him for months and gets no response, and it crushes her. Jacob is there to help her get through it, but, it's just not enough. It's hanging on to the pain of what might have been. It's just more alluring. It's what gives Bella her fight to go on to find Edward, to prove to him that her love for him is undying, and maybe then he will change his mind. So, as you can see, this isn't harmless fantasy. Exposing these kinds of relationship dynamics, it conditions women to confuse conflict with chemistry, drama with depth, and the whole, I can fix him with love. I have to stress this. This is not love. This is an addiction, and neuroscience proves it. You see, scarcity and unavailability, they trigger those dopamine cravings in our brain, and it makes breadcrumbs, the little, bits of effort that the abuser will sprinkle and do, and it makes it feel meaningful. While consistent kindness, it gets taken for granted. As long as you continue this cycle, the breadcrumbs become less and less, and the abuse just gets worse and worse, and you become an addict. Chris again nails it. He explains how our brains are wired and how we perceive scarcity of affection.
Our brain says, if something is scarce, it must be more precious. And we take this economic dynamic into our love lives. So if someone stops texting us, or we feel like they're drifting, all of a sudden our brain says they must be important. If they say, here I am, I genuinely like you and very much want to commit, our brains respond with, what's wrong with you? If you treat me like crap and you're in and out of my life and you text me a bit and then you go cold and I don't hear from you, many people think they might be the one. It is no coincidence that so many modern relationships do not begin with mutual understanding, but with a chase. We have taught women to interpret emotional inconsistency as romantic tension, to pursue the man who offers breadcrumbs of affection instead of consistent support, to believe that love is meant to be hard-earned, not freely given. And this has real consequences. It normalizes dysfunction. It rewires attraction around trauma. It sidelines healthy men and glorifies emotionally stunted ones. And it leaves women feeling like emotional burnout is the price that they have to pay for passion. Emotionally mature, transparently keen, and immediately available men are ignored in place of someone who amounts to little more than an effective dopamine trigger. This is why so many guys have so little sympathy for the "where are all of the good men at?" question.
Again, he's not wrong. If you get a chance, again, please check this video out. I really would love to empower so many women to have this kind of knowledge going forward as you approach relationships and people. I just think it's going to do you a world of good. So Chris goes on to, the fact that men are noticing this pattern and they themselves even feel trapped. I mean, their perspective is why commit if emotional unavailability is what gets rewarded. And I think in that same video, Chris says he read a comment somewhere where a guy says, I'm trapped in a generation where I don't know whether to buy a girl flowers or to ignore her to win her affection. You read that. How sad is that? So now I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to talk about one of my favorite films, one that I think one of the few from Hollywood that actually got this topic right, and that was Bridget Jones's Diary, the first one. This film, I think, brilliantly contrasts the toxic excitement with real virtue, and it did it 25 years ago. Bridget Jones, in the beginning, is drawn to her witty, charming, flirtatious boss, Daniel Cleaver. He is essentially the bad boy who makes her feel alive. He's exciting, he says all the right things, until he cheats and lies. And then there's Mark Darcy. He's awkward, he's reserved, seemingly judgmental at first. He's successful, principled, emotionally steady, and respectful. And he likes Bridget just the way she is. This scene alone sent shockwaves across the world, and without a doubt changed my entire outlook on relationships. In fact, from the moment I saw this clip, I knew I had to find myself a Mark Darcy. Here's where he tells her that he likes her just the way she is.
It didn't work out with Daniel Cleaver?
No, it didn't.
I'm delighted to hear it.
Look, are you and Cosmo in this together? I mean, you seem to go out of your way to try to make me feel like a complete idiot every time I see you. And you really needn't bother. I already feel like an idiot most of the time anyway. With or without a fireman's pole. That'll be my taxi. Good night.
Look, I'm sorry if I've been...
What?
I don't think you're an idiot at all. I mean, there are elements of the ridiculous about you. Your mother's pretty interesting. And you really are an appallingly bad public speaker. And you tend to let whatever's in your head come out of your mouth without much consideration of the consequences. I realized that when I met you at the turkey curry buffet that I was unforgivably rude and wearing a reindeer jumper that my mother had given me the day before. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say very inarticulately is that In fact, perhaps despite appearances, I like you very much.
Apart from the smoking and the drinking and the vulgar mother and the verbal
No,
diarrhea.
I like you very much. Just as you are.
See, he's not playing games. He's being honest. No big dramatic chases, no ignoring boundaries. He shows up consistently. And that is a big, big deal. So another reason why, in my opinion, Bridget Jones's Diary remains one of the most honest and helpful romance films ever made is the fact that it shows Bridget actively breaking the narcissistic cycle before it fully traps her again. Daniel Cleaver is the textbook charming narcissist. He gives Bridget just enough attention to keep her hooked. And then he lies, and then he cheats, and then he devalues her. That push-pull is a classic intermittent reinforcement tactic, and it's portrayed exactly as addictive as it is in real life. And what I love the most is Bridget's growth. She recognizes the familiar toxic pattern with Daniel. She feels the pull, the excitement mixed with the pain, and she chooses to break the cycle.
That's not a good enough offer for me. I'm not willing to gamble my whole life on someone who's, well, not quite sure. It's like you said, I'm still looking for something more extraordinary than that.
She walks away from the predictable heartbreak and opens herself to something real with Mark. That moment is incredibly powerful. It's the lesson that every woman needs, that you can stop the roller coaster before it destroys you. You deserve consistency, respect, and peace, not endless emotional warfare disguised as passion. Even as a teenager watching this, I instantly rooted for Mark because the film actually made his virtues visible. In today's culture, we're told to choose the challenging Daniel because he's more exciting. Bridget shows us the wiser path. We desperately need more stories like this. Thanks for watching this clip from the Grateful Wife podcast. If you'd like to hear more of what I have to say, please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel so I can help make the channel grow. I really thank you for watching, and may God's peace be with you.